Hello everyone, welcome to Talks with Manny, where I am your host Manny, and in today's video we'll be talking about episodes 64 and 65 of Boruto. Now the reason for today's double feature episode is because last week I had a bit of a personal issue going on and I couldn't find time to upload episode 64 for you. So, today we're doubling down on the review episode and I'm putting out 64 and 65 at the same time, in the same episode. So this episode will be twice as long as my normal episodes, and it's going to be twice the fun, hopefully, if you like this sort of video. So, before we get into the whole episode review thing, I just want to state I'm going to be taking a much more laid-back approach to these review videos from now on. I've been rewatching my older videos, and I feel like I'm a little bit too strung up, too formal. I go into too much of a synopsis and plot, when in reality, it's a review, so I don't really have to tell you the plot because you probably come here because you've seen the episode already. So there's really no reason for me to retell you what everything is going on in the episode. That's kind of dumb. So from now on, it's going to be a lot more laid back, a lot more natural, a lot more how I feel about the episode rather than what happens in the episode, if that makes any sense. So, like always, there will be heavy spoilers to this episode and perhaps the series as a whole, so if you haven't watched the episode or if you want to watch the series and you don't want to get spoiled, probably consider this your last warning before we get into the actual meat of this review, I suppose. Before we hop into things, I will leave a description timestamp for you to skip to where I talk about each episode, because I know some people have already watched 64, because it's already been out for like 3 weeks at this point. So some people who don't want to watch that review can just skip to episode 65. I will leave, again, a timestamp in the description. Okay, guys, let's hop into it. Okay, so episode 64 starts us off with Mitsuki waking up in this hospital bed after he gets completely demolished by Urashiki, after Urashiki steals his Sage Mode chakra, I guess, with this fish hook. He's a fisherman of chakra, I don't know. It's kind of weird. But Mitsuki wakes up, and he wonders where Boruto is, and he tries to get off the bed, and in a pretty funny, I guess, accident, you would call it, he falls down, like face first, completely face plants onto the ground. And the animation for that was actually really fucking funny. I thought it was actually pretty hilarious. I was not expecting that at all. I thought he'd get up and be running around, oh, where's Boruto, and then Sarada would be like, yo, chill, he's fighting for his dad and shit. And he'd be like, oh, okay. And then he'd go back to bed or something. No, he just completely face first on the ground, completely knocked out. Sarada walks into what the fuck? So yeah, just funny. Besides that one scene, the beginning of this episode is actually pretty touching. You get to see Mitsuki and Sarada have this kind of nice conversation where they're a little bit nervous about Boruto, but Mitsuki reassures Sarada and says, he'll be fine because he's my son, which, but Sarada, she has this moment with Mitsuki, I guess you'd call it, where they kind of talk and they rely on each other a little bit. She's like, oh yeah, haha, what am I doing? It's funny, yeah, Boruto will be fine, it's fine. And, yeah. So, another scene to make Mitsuki everyone's best boy, because people just love Mitsuki. Personally, I'm a little bit neutral on Mitsuki. I mean, I think he's funny sometimes, I think he's really weird sometimes. I don't really know how to feel about Mitsuki, but for the most part, he's okay. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that opening part. Actually, no, there's one more thing. Sarada has this laugh right when she's talking to Mitsuki. I can't recall exactly what Mitsuki says or whatever, but she has this reassuring laugh or whatever, and I was actually really surprised by how natural that felt, because usually in shonen, at least in anime, you have all these characters laughing, but they're laughing with each other, so it's really forced. It's not really natural. It just kind of feels off. I have to give praise to the VA who voices Sarada, because that laugh was probably the most fucking natural thing I've ever heard in any anime ever. So big props to that voice actor. Did a great job. Kuchiki Kokoro is her name, I believe. And then the episode continues on past this after the opening and whatever, and then we come back to Naruto having his chakra sucked out by Momoshiki like he's drinking the last little drops out of a Capri Sun. Honestly, this man, sucking way too hard. But, so while Naruto is literally losing all of his powers while being sucked off by Momoshiki, he has these flashbacks of his interactions with Boruto, or in some cases his lack of interaction, I suppose. And he acknowledges the fact that Boruto and his actions were kind of in part due to him never really trying to understand Boruto or, who he really is or even acknowledge him. So this episode doesn't really pull any freaking punches on the emotion, just like the last one. It had me choked up in some parts, so it was really well done, I'd say. This episode also had a lot of flashbacks, much like the previous episode, but these flashbacks were way better. Like, they made sense and they added to the episode, added to the emotion that was being built up, and it was really good. But in the last episode, it was not so good. It suffered from some overused flashbacks, and it kind of broke up the pacing of the episode. So it seems like they learned their lesson from the last episode and try to make this one a little better flashback-wise, which is really appreciated. It was much better in this episode than in the previous episode. That scene where Naruto and Boruto talk was way better in the anime than its counterparts, in my honest opinion. I really feel like the anime just took a bigger, in-depth look. The voice acting was better than the movie, and the manga just seemed a little flat, but maybe it's just because I just really can't come to appreciate the art style for the manga. I don't know, it just seems a little off to me. Like, the characters kind of look, they all have like baby faces. I don't know, it's just, I have to force myself to read the manga a little bit. Which doesn't mean the manga is bad, it's just, I think the anime did that particular scene much better than both of its counterparts. Speaking of father-son moments, Shikadai and Shikamaru have a nice father-son moment right after Naruto's and Boruto's, so that was pretty cool. Nice little slide in for some character development, I suppose. Pretty nice, pretty nice. And of course, in like the manga and the movie, Momoshiki's personal cunt rest still gets captured by the Mizukage and Tsuchikage, well, with help from Sasuke, of course. Everyone is disgusted when Momo eats his loyal seat. Sasuke is literally the only one who tries to even stop Momo, but of course it's too late by then. Not really much else to say about this. Oh, actually, no, I think it was a really solid choice by the anime to go by the manga's version of Momo in his powered-up form instead of the angry red overgrown Muppet that we got in the movie version. I really did not like the movie version of Momoshiki. I thought that was really weird and gross. I was like, why is he red? He ate two white people. Like, it didn't make any sense to me. So I'm really glad that they chose the manga version. I think it looks really, really good. And that pretty much wraps up all my thoughts on episode 64. I thought it was a pretty good episode. It had okay animation minus Mitsuki's faceplant. Pretty good voice acting by Sarada in particular. I really like the scene between Naruto and Boruto. Just good stuff all around. I couldn't really find anything to really nitpick in this episode. Minus, some flashback. Because, I said it was good, but, still, a lot of flashback. All right, let's move on to episode 65. Okay, episode 65 starts off with probably the most anticlimactic opening out of all of them. It just kind of does the part where everyone's like, oh, he ate freaking Kinshiki, what? Oh no, he's so gross. And then that gets completely blown away by the fact that this episode has literally the best animation in the entire freaking series, hands down. I was blown away by the quality of animation in this episode. Though if it wasn't as good as it is, I would probably be pretty upset because this episode was delayed a week. So if it wasn't at least good quality animation, I think everybody would be a little bit on edge about this episode in particular. But fantastic animation. I literally cannot say this enough. I have been saying this everywhere to everybody. This episode has literally the best animation in the entire series, hands down. I don't think anybody will combat me on that opinion, because if you've seen the series, this episode is so good. It's literally just an entire episode of fighting. So there's very little emotional events or anything. Well, that's not entirely true. There is a little bit, but mostly fighting, and the fighting is freaking crazy good looking. Just really good episode. So because, like I said, the episode is mostly fighting, I can't really tell you about how it really made me feel, so I'm just gonna, to an extent, I'm just gonna say what parts of the episode I really, really liked, fighting-wise. Actually, there is one part of the episode that I thought was really annoying. It's when Boruto screams dad, really loudly before Naruto and Sasuke get serious, which was a little annoying, but like I said, the fight scene more than made up for any minor annoyances in this episode. I literally cannot state enough how freaking good the fight scenes looked in this freaking episode. It is so good. Okay, one of my favorite scenes in like the entire episode was that bit where Sasuke starts flipping his sword with his feet and then tosses it at Momoshiki by like kicking it away after infusing it with some lightning and it was just really cool. And then Momo lands and does like this classic kung fu stance. He's like, "Oh, come here." Ah, it's just so good. I loved the throwbacks in this episode, actually. There were a lot of throwbacks to previous Naruto fights, like the Sasuke versus Itachi fight where he does those shurikens and he throws them and he like cuts them and he uses like this thread to pull them down and stuff. Like if you watch the Itachi fight, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The Land of Water arc, like the original Naruto was throwback to in this episode when Naruto gets thrown by Sasuke, who then pops out to be like, "Oh, aha, I'm actually Naruto." And then he throws a Rasen Shuriken that pops out to be actually Sasuke. I was like, what the hell is going on? This is crazy. Just really good. Really good. This episode just got so many things right in their fight sequences. It's, oh God, it's incredible. Like, if you haven't seen this episode, I recommend you go and watch this episode right now. Even if you haven't even seen the series, just the fight sequences alone are enough to make you want to watch the series. Like, honestly, just really good. All right, just so we don't have like a constant me just jerking off the show fest, I'm going to talk about Katatsuke or Katatsuki or whatever. He's my least favorite character in the entire freaking series. I hate this dude. I hate this guy so much. I feel so bad for his poor cameraman who has to deal with that level of stupidity on a regular basis. Just, massive oof. Do not like him. Do not like him at all. On a more positive note, though, now that we got that, necessary downplay of the episode, Sasuke is becoming one of my favorite characters in this series. He is way more likable than he was in Shippuden. And I know that opinion in particular will probably get a lot of people to kill me for it, but trust me, I really like Sasuke in Boruto. He's really good. I love his character development. I love how he acts. I love that he's a teacher with Boruto. I love all of his interactions so far in the series have been really, really, really good. So he's slowly becoming my favorite character. What's another funny thing? Oh, I genuinely laughed when Momo got hit with Boruto's Vanishing Rasengan the first time. It wasn't meant to be funny, at least I don't think it was, but the way he fell after he got hit, that's oh God, whoever animated that had like a field day. That was so funny. And the way it cut him off was just like, it was so good. Like, it was just one of those meme GIF things, like you can just, oh God, it was just really good. Funny, not like good, but like good funny. All right, on a more serious note, so I can stop tripping over my words, there was this scene where Naruto helps Boruto make this gigantic, massive Rasengan thing, and I thought that was really well done. I loved the little, like, added bit where they show, like, Jiraiya and Hinata and Naruto in the last, just, like, helping him, like, raise up this gigantic Rasengan. I thought that was really nice. Really, really good. Also, I feel like I'm saying the words really, really good, like, way too often, so I'm gonna try to step off that word for a little bit. In the end of the episode, we get to see Momo in some weird spirit form, talking to Boruto about how well he inherited the power of the Otatsuki, but was inexperienced with it, and how his blue eyes would one day take everything from him, which is pretty damn ominous to say the least. I haven't actually read the manga past the Boruto movie arc, like past the Chunin exam arc, so I'm unsure if this is actually explained in the manga, but off my speculation at least, I'm pretty sure that Boruto's dojutsu, is a mixture of like a Byakugan and some weird like genetic trait from the Otatsuki or something, because as you know, the Hyuga clan is descended from the original two brothers, or no, Hagoromo I think in particular, and the Uchiha and Hyuga clans were like two separate things, but they each inherited, like the Byakugan, Sharingan things. Like, people who know the series, like, know this crap, but for the people who don't, there you go, little mini history lesson for you. But I'm pretty sure that Boruto's dojutsu is now going to be a lot more prevalent in the series, because I think with his fight with Momoshiki, especially in, like, the fight in the anime, I don't know if this happened in the manga, I can't quite recall, but he ends up using his dojutsu in some, like, fight combinations when he's tackling Momoshiki. So he was using it, but like unknowingly, which is a little weird. I assume it gets more prevalent in the series at some point, because if you remember the very first episode, Like the first 10 seconds of it, we get to see Boruto fight this guy named Kawaki, and he just activates his eye. So I assume at some point he learns it. I don't really know when that is. I will probably have to read up on the manga. I've been meaning to do that for a while now, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So if I sound dumb right now, it's because I haven't read the manga. So, actually, speaking of that weird moment where Momoshiki talks to Boruto, I think Sasuke seems to know something is off, because it cuts to him looking at Boruto after the conversation is done, and he has both of his eyes activated, and he's looking at him with his Eternal Mangekyo and his Rinnegan. So, I mean, I don't think he saw, like, what they were doing, but I'm pretty sure he saw, like, something weird, and he was like, what the fuck? What the hell is going on? So I think he knows something, but he doesn't know exactly what it is. So that's pretty much all of my thoughts on episodes 64 and 65. I thought they were really good episodes. 65 in particular is my favorite episode to date of the entire series, with a very close second being episode 63. I really love episode 63 because it's the moment where you get to see Boruto finally grow up. Took 63 episodes, but we finally got there, people. So, yeah, that's all for today. So, guys, don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video, dislike if you didn't like it, and maybe leave me some constructive criticism down in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future. Peace out, guys.